for being honest.
You sound like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Jesus.
Why is Joe so
Harvey Dent.
Dang, I gotta find whole new crust recipes and everything.
You have to find crust. I'm a crusty crust.
Yes,
Crust.
yes, you are a crusty girl.
Finally claimed it on my Instagrams. I called myself a Sagicorn.
Krusty Krab pizza.
I am a Sagicorn, yeah.
Oh my god.
Is the
This
pizza
low carb protein pizza only has 228 calories and 12 grams of carbs.
200.
Great.
Wait, say
that.
For my macro.
Is the pizza, yeah, for you and me.
For my macro count, low carb protein pizza only 228 calories and 12 gram carbs in the whole pizza.
What is the pizza made out of? Cauliflower? Well, that still seems pretty low for cauliflower.
Right. I'm gonna have to look at this
What
later.
is this made out
You
of?
guys, I
Eight grams
serenaded
fat.
y'all, and you just...
It was so beautiful that I didn't know how to respond to it.
I'm not gonna give it beautiful at all. I'm
He's
gonna
a
be
sound engineer, so that seems fair. That seems fair.
So we just wanted to hurt my feelings.
I have regular ears out here. Louis loved it. Look how he's eagerly waiting for more.
to bounce.
We were having a
said-
serious conversation, and you just
Yeah,
came through with your
About
crusty.
macros.
Yes, we were talking about health.
I
Health
was
is
talking about
wealth.
Krusty Krab pizzas.
That's not even real.
What are you talking about? It's really in your heart.
Make it.
I just did.
Make it in real life so we can have some Krusty Krab pizza.
I cannot do that.
I can't make it. Why? Because it doesn't exist. Anyway, Thomas, like you were saying.
Because it's in my heart.
Heart doesn't exist either.
But heart does exist. I think
You
anatomy.
have another ass where your heart is supposed to be.
That's
Assy
probable.
bitch.
You're
Whoa.
an assy bitch. Your mama.
Remember Yo Mama jokes?
Yes.
It
Remember
was
your
fun.
mama's
I'm
shows?
telling my mom, you call
The
her butt
show.
big.
The show was a thing.
I'm
No,
telling,
I didn't.
I'm telling you
Stop
right
it.
now.
Stop it.
Mom.
Stop.
Mommy.
She's a liar. I'll say she's a liar.
Aw,
through
look
text.
at my mom. She's so cute. She's like, I looked really cute today.
This interaction.
That's horrible.
She's so cute. Don't lie about me, okay?
She dinged her bell.
Oh.
Because she's done chemo.
Oh.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
The wholesomeness we needed. The wholesomeness we needed.
Bro, what if I cry like that?
How about we not think about that? I think
Like that black man. I still love you.
Yo. Someone intro this podcast.
somebody introduces the podcast.
Oh my
This is
God.
the Check-In Podcast with Small Twin, Tall Twin,
Hey, yo, what's up?
and Soul Did It.
What's good? What's good?
Hey, gang.
All right, so we gonna get into something, but first we gonna ask each other how we doing because life is hard and you gotta check in with your friends. So
Check in with your friends. How you doing?
How am I? I'm good. I got a drink in my cup. I'm drinking a little soju, a little peach flavor, a little strawberry flavor, and we got a Izzy in here, green apple. So you know we got a fruity cocktail right here with a little bit of Korean flair.
What's
how
the
y'all
street
doing?
name for that, Izzy?
Oh, the street name is what's today's date?
The 28th.
128.
You know what? We never did the episode on drugs, did we?
Yes, we did.
Like, but no. We did the drugs episode, but did we ever actually do an episode on drugs?
No, because nobody would ever do drugs in this room.
Okay,
Yeah.
bet. Well, since nobody would ever actually do drugs in this room, but when we actually will do drugs, when my peoples leave the house, I would love to come over here and we get drunk and do an episode, and then crossfade and then do the next episode.
Baby, I don't know if them episodes gonna be good to release,
I-
but I do my
I
best.
think they would cause mass hysteria.
Cause I
We gonna
drink a
try.
little bit and I get problematic.
I get well. Yeah, I do. Like I really,
Wait a sec.
I was like, what state of mind was I in? Nope, I was very high, and I was saying some
wild
we
shit.
should control that. 'Cause
I mean,
Drunk
we could
and cold.
always, like, bleep it out. But our 1 hour episode probably gonna be like 5 minutes. But hey,
Remember
Check in with
when
a bleep.
Yep.
but when Lil Wayne would like do a verse, but like the clean version
Yeah.
would be like and then she and then Young
Young
Money. That's how the
Yeah.
fucking episode would be.
Yeah.
Like, so
I'm willing to take that risk.
Of course you, because he's pure. He's pure. Talking to fucking demons. I'm willing to take that risk. Okay, Gabriel. Fucking Joanne and Suzanne, the demons. I forgot what demons' names were, but I would never say that out loud. But yeah, that would be our demon name. Who would just be
Suzanne?
Suzanne and Joanne.
I know it's Suzette.
No,
A Suzette.
that's a demon name.
No, that's a person's name?
Mm-hmm.
Huh, interesting.
His name is.
What
her
was
name is
the-
Suzette?
Hey yo, who?
I think I was watching
What is you talking about? Huh? Because I got some shit to say to a
these things I had to
You
bleep out.
bitch.
I'm bleeping
You
out.
I'm gonna be what's up? You what's up? What's good, my guy? All right, we're done.
So this topic of the
It's about spirituality.
Yep. It sure is.
wow. That's
Sorry, I get really defensive about my twin. Whew.
Oh, I feel that too about you.
But like I saw red all across my eye vision,
Maybe we need to have a tidbit about that.
my rage,
I'm just trying to look
or
at
about
The notes.
the notes. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's just we're gonna
We're gonna just do some editing.
unless we need to go to a different episode because your energy levels seem real high and maybe this ain't the time for a spiritual episode. You know what I'm saying?
I think this is the perfect time
No,
for
I
a
think-
spiritual episode because it'll demonstrate discipline.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta call on to your higher power just to calm all that big energy down, you know?
Amen. Buy him a Honda.
Thank you.
Sha-la-la-la-la.
You see how the other night you was trying to release that demon? That's my demon 24/7 internally.
Yeah, do that.
No.
In the house, though. Like, you ain't gotta do that outside.
It wouldn't stay in the house.
Why?
It would be manifesting in my
You
everyday.
need to watch How to Train Your Dragon or whatever the fuck they use. I don't know.
With food, right? With berries or some shit?
Mm. Or you watch Caesar
I
train
tried
a
to
dog.
train my dragon with cinnamon rolls, but your
Your
back
dragon-
started hurting. Yeah, it's just only so many.
Your dragon started dragging.
Get out of here. That was perfect. All right, fine. I'm cool.
Let's talk.
Oh God.
You always starting these off with some huge
Very
questions.
Cool. Yeah. Well, first, we're not done with how we're doing, though.
Oh.
That was interrupted by my demon, so I want to apologize.
You want me to beat your ass?
He's coming to you. He's like, yeah, I like it.
Go find somebody to do. All right. That guys. Kids.
So you're doing great. Me, I'm doing. I've been better. Hopefully, by the time this releases, I am much better. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that for you.
He just likes to be hit. That's his kink.
So I need to beat his ass.
Hey, look what he's doing after you did. So, well, look what he's doing. It's gonna get worse.
But why is he behind the...
Wait.
Thomas, how are you doing?
I'm scared for Louis. Yes. You know when you
I
was
feel like a
like
drunk parent.
you,
Why are you doing this?
you know when you like go sleep over with your friends and then they get their ass beat and you just looking like,
You just like,
oh shit.
Fuck you, Mom. Come come here. And you start hearing, ah! They come back.
Mommy, no!
You want to play video games or you want to go to sleep?
Me tell you, yo, I don't want to be next. I don't.
I don't. See,
I'm having an allergic reaction to the air. I must be picked up immediately.
Yeah, I be telling my parents I'm sick. I don't feel good.
Can you pick me up even though you just dropped me off 45 minutes ago?
Yep.
Oh my
And I know they would be mad.
Super mad. Oh my God.
Speaking of God, today that was a nice transition. It was. Thank you. I'm trying. Okay. With every hour.
I wanna give you your flowers. His, yours, ours. Shrimp and lobster towers. Champagne showers. Can do this for hours.
Oh, is that the Hours and Hours song?
Yeah.
Who's I don't know.
I don't know, but it's just an EP, I think.
Is that The Weeknd?
No, it's not The Weeknd, ma'am.
I feel like is that them what you call The Weeknd?
Wasn't that boy named the Tuesdays?
Is that the Silk Sonic?
Is that the ones that be going fast in the car, the silky ones?
I know
the
it's
perm boys. What they call them?
Yeah, it's by somebody. I don't. The perm. I think we're already doing that episode that you were talking about. You just not on our level.
I'm hot. Okay,
So Hours and Hours by Mooney Long.
Oh yeah.
I've never would have guessed that. I know it's
that
popular.
song. Got you.
Yeah, I've gotten it.
No. She's also doing the Time Machine song. That's currently. I wish I had a time machine.
But
time machine.
wait, Willow's song, or is it a remake of Willow's song, or no?
No, it's just a
I
new
wish
song.
I had a time machine.
It's going up crazy on
TikTok.
On TikTok, yeah.
It's crazy how like the copyright laws changed because of TikTok. That's crazy. But
Well, things are different in China.
oh yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get into this topic.
Come on.
Get into it, yeah.
So, I thought this would be a very interesting conversation.
Why? I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Keep going.
Wow. Alrighty. Well, I thought talking about spirituality would be an interesting topic because we all, I think, grew up in the church or Christian school or both.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to tap into like millennials and their spiritual journeys nowadays because I know that I've changed and evolved in my way of thinking and I've went astray and then came back and was like, yo, that's not so bad when it's not so scary. And so, yeah, tell me how y'all's journey has been.
Well,
First, is there a higher power?
I believe so. I am non-denom.
Oh, okay.
The nom-denom flavor.
Non-denon. A. We're so cool.
This is how Christianity should be.
Yes.
Fun.
It should be.
So yes, I'm that flavor of Christian. I have always been a Christian.
Yeah.
I grew up in the church. I went to church every Sunday religiously up until I got depression.
Okay.
That was a really weird time for me in my faith. But regardless, now that I have a lot of that under the control, there's also still a pandemic, so I'm not physically going to church, but I do watch my little Transformation Church Tuesdays and whatever when I do the rebroadcast on Tuesdays. But religion and spirituality, I came to find out, were two very different things.
Okay.
And being spiritual, I've felt that's something that I've tapped into more in my adult life, getting to understand okay, yes, there is a part of me that is physical that I have to take care of. There's a part of my consciousness that I have to take care of, but there's also this other part of me that, if you call it energy, spirituality, whatever, there's a part of you that is not physical that I feel like you also need to take care of. And that is something I feel like for the duration of my life up until maybe 24, 25, I didn't really address. because I was just like, oh, this is all lumped into religion. And for me, I've discovered it's not.
Right.
Not the way that I had been digesting religion for the last, 2 decades. But I love Jesus. That's my homie, for real, for real. And I don't think I would be the person that I am right now if I wasn't religious or spiritual, because people have, like, really fucked with me.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have something in the back of my head going, like, give this person grace, or, look at this person from a different perspective, or, when you've made a mistake or you've crossed somebody, wouldn't you want them to forgive you? All these stories in the Bible and everything. That is the only reason I am the good person I am today, because I know I can be a fucking menace to society, and I choose not to be, because I think the Lord wouldn't like that. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I think like, as time has progressed, I've become way more spiritual than religious. Like I said, grew up in the church. My dad literally instilled in me and my sister, if there's ever a chance to pray, to never turn it down. So that meant every time they asked us to pray on Sunday, like, in front of everybody, it was a sin in the house to say no.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
probably one reason I've gotten decent at, public speaking and performing and whatnot.
Okay.
But with that, as time went on, once I finally made it to college and I had the chance to step away from religion and not have to go to church every Sunday, it caused me to start searching a little. I was like, oh, well, I mean, am I really Christian?
Yeah.
Could I be a different religion? Could I have no religion at all? What do I really believe? Like, I got the chance to really become and look into things for myself. But what I did end on, because I used to do I used to literally verbatim say the whole, oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And now I hate that.
Yeah.
I literally think that's an excuse for not searching further, personally. But
Okay.
now,
Hot take.
But now I can recognize that I am Christian. I just am more in tune with my spirituality than my religion.
Okay. Well,
What about you,
shit.
Small Twin?
I would say, and I was telling you this the other week, I really think I found my way back to God. Like, I definitely believe there is a higher power. I think there is a God. Do the pronouns really bother me? I really don't give a shit. Like, I'll call God or her, a they, them, it, whatever. I think something else is there beyond me and my consciousness, my, like, to the ends of, like, what I can think of or imagine. There's definitely something bigger than me. Because I think that, like, creationism just doesn't make sense in my brain without there being somebody, not like a poof, or like I very rarely think things are an accident or like just
Happened by chance or
yeah,
luck.
it's by design. I fully believe that, and it just makes sense in my brain believing that. If it's wrong, it's wrong, but if it's not, cool. I'm on the not side. Like, it doesn't really matter, but I would say, like, now I'm finding my way back to God at my own pace, and it's really nice, and it's really comforting, and it's really, like, it doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel unnatural, and it doesn't feel intimidating.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, when you grow up in the church, and I don't know how many, like, I know my mom pretty much grew up in the church, but my grandmother and her sisters and brothers, they didn't. So, when you're in church and you see people coming in and talk about, like, oh, I was a drug dealer and I was robbing niggas and then I found God. Like, we didn't have that experience. We were just like, this is the right thing to do. So when you have that experience, I think it's very natural for you to grow up, start questioning things, kind of maybe stray away a little bit, and then you're able to come back on your own terms, and it's that much more meaningful of a spiritual journey. for you to go like, okay, I've seen, you know, all there is to see. Maybe not really, but most of the things that are out there. And now I have the opportunity to go, I choose this. Like, my parents are not choosing this for me. My grandparents aren't choosing this for me. I think this is the best for me in my life and my livelihood.
Yeah.
And I choose this.
So,
go ahead.
real quick. So, like, because we all grew up in the church, we all part of the non-denomination nation here.
Only now. Before.
Only now?
Yeah, no, it was Baptist and African Methodist Episcopal.
Yeah, I grew up Baptist.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
tell me-
not for me. It was not for me.
Tell me y'all experiences. I think because I've always been non-denomination, but I grew up in Baptist influenced non-denomination churches. So, you know, everything was accepted, but like y'all are some Baptist, you know,
Yeah.
preachers, and I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't good. So I would say, okay, my earliest memories of church, it was my grandmother's AME church, and she was an usher. So we literally be in church from like
All day.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I was disgusted. I was like, why does God need this much praise? This is really narcissistic, if you ask me. Like, it just wasn't, I wasn't with it at all. But, you know, I was receptive to it because that was also my school environment. I went to Christian school, so I was getting it like at home or my grandmother's house and in school, so it wasn't anything new to me. I was just like, yeah, I know how to pray. I already accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Like, I'm already saved, gang. I'm out here, like, living my Christian life. So nothing was too bad, but, like, the rules when I came home to my Baptist father was just, like, the rules, the way of thought, the fact that, I don't even know if it was my dad or the denomination. That's the hard part.
The denomination in itself is very regimented, for lack of a better term. So you don't really have these opportunities to express yourself outside of what they say is appropriate. Like my grandmother's church, no matter how nicely you dressed, you couldn't wear pants. Women could not sit in the front row of the church. Like there were just all these
the
rules.
roles of women was crazy to me. But they would make it, they would like gaslight you. Like they would make it seem like other denominations were way more strict. And like my dad would talk horseshit about Catholics like all day, every day. And I was just like, I mean,
I went to mass one time and I was like, this is not for me.
when I learned about my 7th grade Bible class was the best class I've ever had in my entire life. Shout out to Mr. Intelkofer. I always called you Mr. I because your name was hard. You know that. So shout out to Mr. I. But he taught us like all the religions, like outside of Christianity and all the denominations in Christianity. And I learned about Catholicism, and I was like, bro, Catholicism is pretty lit, but they did some fucked up shit. So I understand the pushback like away from that church, but like it was so different from what I was hearing at home with my dad talking shit about Catholics.
I really feel like non-denom, when you come from any other flavor of Christianity, non-denom feels a lot more, they're like the hippie denomination of all Christians. Like it's a lot more free-spirited. They're not really tied to any one thing. In the church that I used to go to, like they would have days where they would be like, oh, you know, we bringing y'all to a black church this morning. And we would have like, you know, choir. Like the first Sunday of the month, we would have a choir.
Good.
So you got that nice, like, oh, I can hear a choir again. Like, this is lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
But you still got to, you know, hear, you know, for lack
guitar.
of a better, like you got to hear the contemporary Christian music. Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, I think non-denomination is literally the meeting place between white and black churches.
Yeah, it is.
Like
it is, but it's sad. I kind of want a choir.
No, it's very.
I love choirs.
It's very interesting as time progresses where things go, because like I grew up in the non-denomination church with a choir, all my churches has choirs. Now is when the black churches
Praise
are
band.
starting to get. Yeah, there's
worship team.
worship team, exactly.
Yeah.
They're doing a very Joel Osteen-esque look. A lot of these churches are moving more towards
To the mega
side, to even behind the scenes, like they're moving more towards shorter services, towards streaming, towards we're gonna get a small praise team of good singers, making sure they're good, because they be
Yeah, no, you're right.
we can talk about it behind the scenes, but a small team up there with a band and a whole live production versus having a whole choir. You have to go to probably a older church to get a choir at this point.
That's
it's like a special treat now if you get a choir.
Choirs are lit.
They are lovely, I will say that. But I do appreciate being able to go home in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and not 6 hours. Like, we used to go to the First Baptist Church of Guilford. At that time, the preacher, I think his pastor, right? He's now deceased. But that man would get up there and he'd be talking. And so we would always try to go to, I think it was a 6 a.m. service.
Right.
Because it would be done at 8.
Yeah.
Because if you went to the 10 o'clock service, you were going to be there until 2. And my dad and my mom were really not with it.
Gotcha.
So I remember getting up super early. But my experience in that church, it was a lot of like fire and brimstone teaching, which I don't like. I don't like feeling scared to do anything wrong, and everybody's like, oh, Jesus forgives. The way y'all talking about him, he gonna like take my right knee and an arm and then forgive me. Like, I'm scared now. So I had like that experience. So when I went to the first non-denominational church, which my middle school friend, her mom recommended it to my mom, because at the time she said it was a big church, but now they have like 3 satellite locations. They were nowhere near as big as they are now.
Right.
They're actually like having service out of community college, because they didn't even have a church yet. So watching that progression of them growing was really nice. But I remember the first message I heard, and the pastor got up there. It was talking about like how you need to like you have to go through these growing pains when you're a Christian. Like, there are certain stages that are going to be uncomfortable that you have to go through. And then he got to talk about acne, and my little acne face was like, me, this me. So I just felt like very spoken to, because I think a lot of the older black churches, they speak more to adults. And the non-denominational churches, I think,
they capture the youth.
Yeah, they're able to like capture a broader audience than some of the older churches, and that's what really won me over. And that it was like 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we got to go home.
The first time I went to what's now called Union Church, I believe. Before it was.
Was it like that Pi 5 one?
Oh,
Union. High Five?
Union, like it's currently Union because it was Transformation
and somebody else combined.
Destiny.
Oh,
Destiny. Yeah, I went to it when it was Destiny.
Yeah, I went to Destiny too.
Yeah, and I walked the first day. I was like, damn, this club Jesus internally. I was saying that to myself. Like, literally, all the lights were low, and they were like playing oons music, and somebody was soulful and singing, and then the pastor was like charismatic and was
he
talking.
Was very young too.
Very young.
Pastor Stephen Chandler.
Stephen Chandler and his wife Zai,
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at us. We going to church and knowing people. Because I was gonna reference them too. I like having a young pastor. Such a different feeling. It felt so much more relatable. And even if I won't speak about things that I heard in the background, we're gonna talk.
No,
but
I kind of figured, because church is moving into the business,
right?
And
but besides the stuff, like, there is just this feeling of familiarity. They were literally in college for 4 to 8 years tops before us.
Yeah,
they understand us on a different level rather than. And I love. Shout out to Pastor Gertrude Stevens. She is my pastor.
Pastor crush.
What?
That's not a thing. Sorry.
Oh my!
I guess that's
I'm not
a thing.
lying. Like,
Pastor
what's
crush?
there's
Transformation?
a light skinned gentleman in Transformation Church.
Don't do it.
I was just like, huh.
Don't do it.
Huh. And then in one message, he's like, my wife and my daughter. And I was like, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. I'm so
Praise the
happy
Lord.
for you. Amen. Amen.
Pastor Gertrude Stevens is more of a grandmother figure to me.
Grandmother. That's what you were going to say.
Yes,
She said crush.
but she's just
Her name is Gertrude.
I
Okay.
was way
she just
off.
had, but her age difference from me, I couldn't always connect with the
Yeah.
with the messages one to one.
Okay.
But with oh my god, you threw me off of that car.
So sorry. I'm so off.
Let me anyway. Let me just ask y'all real quick though, because y'all grew up in church schools too, because it was still very separate school and church for me. You know, we pledged the allegiance, but other than that, we ain't mentioning God. So how was that experience for y'all?
Do you want to go first, or do you want
His
me
name
to
was
go?
Charles, Pastor Charles. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, go first. Okay, so there was really no separation. There were things that I thought were weird, like okay, pledge allegiance to the flag was weird in general. I think we can all
to the Christian flag.
but the Christian flag and the Bible, I was like,
Pledge allegiance
oh,
to the Bible.
God's holy word.
Oh.
I make it a light into my feet. Wait, I make it a lamp unto my something and a light into my path. I will hide his words in my heart so I might not sin against God. That was just like a very weird
That
time for me. 'Cause I was just like,
blocked that out. No, but I do remember it was the American flag, the Christian flag, and then it was the
Bible, yeah. It was just like looking when you're a child, you don't know any different, but looking at it now,
That's creepy as hell.
yeah, that it seems culty.
Yes.
It seems very culty.
Yeah, so
Especially when it's like we don't do that ever in life now.
never.
Like I'm pledging allegiance to a flag,
Never.
to a book.
Never.
Like-
I don't even stand for that bit.
Like,
Different conversation, man.
Facts though.
but yeah,
That's
it was,
where I go get concessions.
It was very odd looking back at it now. But when you're a kid and going through like Christian school, you just go like, okay, like, you know, we're taught in church that God is supposed to be a part of our everyday lives, and boom, now he is. Like,
Yeah.
I see this man 6 days a week, and on Saturday, if there's like a, you know, little church function, you
Yeah.
gonna see him 7 days a week. If you with your grandma, you definitely gonna see him 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And all day Sunday, 6 a.m. to whenever night service gets out.
It was just annoying because I felt like they incorporated God in areas and spaces where it just felt forced. It was just like, can we just learn biology? Like, do we have to throw in like Genesis every time we dissect a frog? Like
I didn't mind it because I was very, very, very in love with the Lord.
yeah, you were.
So I didn't mind it for the I want to say it really, really wasn't until I hit depression and I was like, Jesus, what's going on here? Because I do all the things. I have gone to church religiously, but even when I was there by myself, I would go every single Sunday without fail, and I was going to Bible study. Like through college, didn't miss a Sunday, baby. Like I had to be very, very sick to not go. So when I got depressed, I was like, did I do something wrong, or like what's going on here? Like I would like to clear this up in the next like 3 or 4 weeks, and
like
then it lasted for years.
Being devout and then getting possessed. Just like, what did I do?
It's like, I thought you was supposed to be my sword and shield. You're supposed to be my safe haven. I don't feel safe. What's happening?
Help! Wave your forsaken me!
Like, that's how I really felt. And then I was angry. And you don't ever want to be angry with God because it just seems like a recipe for disaster. But, growing up, it was just second nature to me. Like, I didn't think about it. If God wasn't there, I'd be like, these people falling by the wayside. Like, I was good with it.
Yeah.
But the depression hit, and I was just like, what's the problem?
Yeah, you want to know what did it for me?
What did it for you?
Death. I found
That's interesting.
I know. I found that the most goodest people were losing their lives, and I couldn't find you know how I could find a reason in everything? I couldn't find a reason in that. I wasn't at the point where I could say those individuals, their work on earth was done. I'm in a space now to know that. But back then, I was just like, these people did nothing to nobody, suffered for years or not, their life was cut short. But they were still so devout, like you. I was just like, why does this keep happening? Like, why is all this shitty shit occurring right now? And I've spent all my life trying to be like a good Christian. Like, I just don't understand why I'm experiencing this pain. So it was kind of similar to you, but it was like different. Like, I was just hurting, and I was like, I don't understand why you're letting me hurt this bad. Like,
Right.
why do I deserve this type of pain right now?
I think there was a huge disconnect with Christian teachings, in the sense that, you know, they taught about all these Bible characters who went through it and became Christians, like Saul and Paul Saul.
Yeah.
Like, you saw all these transformations, but you didn't really see people who was like down from the jump and then go through, like Job. Job is always a classic example when they're like, oh, you're going through it's just Job. But it's just like, no, why did Job have to go through that? Because he ain't do nothing to nobody. He was minding his business, doing everything he was supposed to do. And I feel like that part of the Christian walk doesn't get addressed. And I think that's one of the major things that young people walk away from. Because I'm like, you guys are telling me that, you know, my life is going to be better. This is a person who I can trust. This is a person who loves me, who protects me no matter what situation I go, prepares a you know, petty table of dinner in the presence of my enemies. Like, you're like hyping up all these perks, so to speak, about being a Christian, but you're not talking about, like, yes, you can be a Christian and do quote unquote all the things, but you are still going to experience life. Like, Christianity does not protect you from pain. It doesn't protect you from bad situations. It is just something you can lean on when you go through those things. And I don't feel
For real. Yeah.
I don't feel like that was really taught to us.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was pretty much like, be good, be a good Christian, and good things will happen to you. And it's not a reward system like that.
But when it's like the opposite, or when good shit doesn't happen to us,
like,
while
you're
we're
doing
being
something
good,
wrong. Yeah. You're being bad. God is upset with you.
At that point, that's where a lot of people, our generation, are just like, fuck this. Like, it ain't even worth all this, man. You can keep that. And I mean, honestly, right now, I know we're talking about how we've been to young churches and churches that kind of cater to the millennials, but it's like, those old school teachings are still very much alive and present, and the dominating factor in
Very true.
in the church going industry, the religion, and like mega churches and everything. So, and they're not doing a good job just being honest with us, like being honest about the fact that, yeah, you might get depression. You could do all the good things right now, but something is going to happen to you, and your brain is going to alter.
I remember there's, I think it was Paul Saul. And there's a part in the Bible where he, like, really asked God, and he was like, I have this problem. Like, can you please help me with this? And God was pretty much like, this is a thorn in your side. I'm keeping there to keep you humble, because you don't know how you're going to act. If I take this away from you, the person you are going to become, I can't use that person.
Oh, I fully believe if I didn't have insecurities, I would be.
So I'm like, yeah, if I didn't have acne, I'd be running these streets. God knows, bro.
God knew.
He's like, let me not give her too much now.
She not gonna know how to act.
Like, and I know that. I'd be like, he used to give me a couple pimples every couple of days, and I'd be like, okay, I see you. But yeah, like, I feel like those are parts that really need to be expressed. And there was one pastor at Bridgeway, is where I went to for like over 10 years. He was the most logical man ever. Like, if he wasn't, I would have believed he was a scientist. Like, everything was very like, I'm a Christian, I love God, but I have to admit to you, this don't make sense to me. And I really love that because I was like, yeah, everything in the Bible doesn't make sense. Like, if God's telling me to do X, Y, and Z, and I can only do X, like, what am I supposed to do with the Y, Z? That's not possible for me to get.
Go to hell.
So I think
That's what they.
But wait, so like looking for explanations outside of just our religion has probably the reason why I've become more spiritual. Like literally, you talking about the pimples, right? That reminds me of just my like common, very low level ideals on like yin yang, for example. So going outside of, at least because I don't know if yin and yang are religious or not, but just my basic knowledge of equivalent exchange, yin yang, things of that nature. So, like you said, life might have been great for you 100% if you had no pimples. But God knew,
God gave me 1 year, and He was like, "No,
nah." So
like, what I do?
So to balance that out, let me throw a pimple here. And that's the explanation. Although I do always acknowledge that, like, when I use that explanation for everything, it still does come from a privileged place. Because I can't tell somebody who is on the streets and has no food every other day that
God didn't give you food in a house because He knew you would act crazy.
Yeah.
Or because
that would get your ass beat.
because you're such a perfect person, you have no food. Like,
Yeah.
nah, I can't say that necessarily, and that definitely comes from a privileged place. But from a very low level side, like the people who seem to have it the like easiest, who look the best, who might be flourishing in all social sides that we can see, maybe they're dealing with such internal battles, and once again, that's the yin yang of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're fallen people, so some fuck shit is bound to happen. But I think I agree with you when looking at other things, and you're starting to realize like how much I don't want to say like that there's a big three, but like there's a big two in the religion world, and it's like Islam, Christianity.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. When you look at some of these other religions that are maybe not as popular and see how they, like, what they do for their people, what they tell their people to do to stay healthy and stay grounded, you realize like there's a lot of spiritual work that still needs to happen. Like, you can't go to church on Sunday and pray every night and expect like everything's going to be okay. Like, Christianity is still work. If you're a Muslim, like, that is still work.
Yeah.
So I think that's another part that gets lost in translation. Like, just like you have to go to the gym and exercise to keep your body healthy. There are spiritual things that you need to do. Maybe when you pray, you need to actually sit there in silence and let God, talk to you. And even if you don't hear nothing, you still need to be in the habit of being in silence and being humble and looking at things a different way. Like, there are a lot of mental, gymnastics, I will say, that you have to do to get yourself to go, okay, this is not just read a Bible and pray and check off a list and be okay. Like, there is a spiritual aspect to this.
Yeah.
That is not just do.
But I think that's what drew me away for a long while. Like, yeah, it was the really tragic deaths that were happening, but like it was also just the mirror image of people who went to church every Sunday and how they acted in their everyday life. I did not like what I was seeing. I was just like,
it got to a point where it was really hard to want to, like, if somebody said like, oh, like, are you religious? I almost never wanted to say I was a Christian. Yeah. Because there was such a connotation with it of, holier than thou. I'm better than you. I think I'm better than you. You're not good if you don't become a Christian. Yeah. I'm going to treat you like trash if you're gay, if you, got a divorce, if you had an abortion. Like, there was so much baggage with the term Christianity that I would just be like, oh, well, I'm a follower of Christ. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I like that.
Because it gave you a different feel, and you weren't, like, people aren't really sure how to take that, so at least you don't get the negative part of it.
Because that's all I was seeing. I was just seeing, like,
Christians can be so nasty.
Horrible, nasty, judgmental, drunk. Like, I was just like...
And I'm like, everybody has the church hurt me story. Even if you've been a Christian, even if you grew up in the church everybody has a story. And it's really sad that something that's supposed to be so helpful and loving and kind and be, you know, such a great thing in the world, a lot of people have been hurt from it.
I will say the funnest experience that I had was, I think it was a Methodist church, but there was like this prayer to Mary, and my dad was like, "Don't say that prayer, you're gonna go to hell." Nah. And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." Yeah, it was just the church hurt in many ways. It could be emotional, it could be mental. Like it was just these mind games I was always trying to maneuver around, like being forced to be a church kid. So when I was finally like, "Oh, I'm gonna work every Sunday,"
and feeling like trash when you didn't want to go to church.
Yeah,
like that was the part that I was just like, if I ever felt, I remember when I told my dad I was sick, and he would just be like, "You just don't want to go to church." Turns out I was really, really sick, and when he finally took me to a doctor, I almost had to go to surgery.
Wow.
Like if he had waited another week, I would have had to have surgery. And I'm just like, you really like jeopardized my health because you felt it was that important for me to sit in church. When it's like, yes, church is a good place for you to learn teachings and everything, but all them teachings is in the Bible. Like my relationship with God is more important than me sitting in a building every Sunday. So what it really is.
Telling my father that was, we've had mad conversations about that one.
Old school folks don't like that conversation. They're like, "Why you not going to church?"
I think my dad thought I was like a Satanist at one point. He was just like, "I know you don't believe in God. You believe in Satan? You Satan?" And I was just like, chill
That's a
on
massive jump.
That's a massive jump. But I would be like, I know some Satanists. They're really nice.
Actually, like, first of all, witches and Satanists,
They're very nice.
they are very nice. They're very politically correct.
They're like very much like, "Oh yeah, what are your gender pronouns?" Okay, that's fine if you don't have any or believe in that. That's totally cool.
Like, Satanists and witches act the way that Christians should be acting.
Yes. And I think that's the irony of the religion. And I think that's the point. I think that I really do. I think it's just a big old troll. It's just like, we're going to worship the worst of the worst, but be the best of the best.
They really are very nice.
Haven't
I haven't met not one witch, warlock, Satanist. Maybe they don't use warlock. Sorry if that's wrong. That was just, I've never met one that was an asshole. They were just always very pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, so if this is where we're at now, where do you feel like you'll be at, like continuing forward in adulthood? Beyond that, like, what about the partners that you have? What about when you have children? Like,
I definitely think that I think it's ever growing, but I do feel closer to God. I think you good?
There was a Louis hair on my mic that was just floating because of the fan, and I was just like, I kind of get it, but it was blending in with the carpet. It was hard to see. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, so I think regardless of where I'm at in some way, shape, or form, I'll be closer to God in practice, I believe.
okay.
Will I require that for my partner? I don't think so. I don't even think, like, for my kids, if I have any either. But I know that's very important to people, but it's just like, I was never given the opportunity to find my way. And me finding my way is a far better journey than being forced into a way. So I wouldn't really want to do that to my kids unless they're like, "Oh yeah, well, who we celebrating for Christmas? Jesus? Oh my God, let's talk about Jesus." You know what I'm saying? Like, then we could talk about Jesus. But if you don't want to talk about Jesus, we could talk about Santa Claus. That's totally fine.
I think I've settled that I don't mind dating outside of my religion. But I do want someone to have some type of religion. I don't think the only thing I think I wouldn't date is an atheist.
Okay.
Because to me, to believe that there's nothing above us is wild.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one wild part I can't get over. To think that, like, we're the ultimate form in a sense is just like
having conversations with atheists is really interesting. It could also be mind numbing.
Yeah.
But it could be very, very like
true.
enlightening in some aspect. Because it's just like, the buck stops with us. We suck.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
we're powerless amongst shit. A comic could come in. So I don't know. To me, that's just a very important thing, just to have a higher power.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to my kids, I think, or myself, I do want to become more spiritually involved for multiple reasons. I still want to or religiously involved. I still want to search out more. Like, I don't feel like I would have done life right if I never personally read the Bible, like full on, and actually be able to have an understanding with my adult mind.
Oh, wow. We are coming from a place of privilege. I think over the course of my education, I've had to read the entire Bible.
Oh, yeah, never. I mean, like, we read it every Sunday, but I've never had to read it, like.
We had to memorize Ephesians.
I think I was in first or second grade. They made us memorize the entire first chapter of Genesis.
Whoa.
Jesus.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's.
OCS did not play about their Jesus. He was going to know some stuff and nothing else.
Jesus. But with my kids, and it's important to me for them to grow up in a church home. I just really feel kind of strong about the idea that that church home gave me some great foundations that allowed me to navigate the world in a very loving way. Now, finding the right church home is probably more important than just any church home, for one. And two, wow, this might be another politically, drawn conversation we should have. But I don't know if I necessarily believe... I don't know if y'all recently saw. Y'all see Jeannie Mae and Jeezy said they're going to, have their kid be genderless and decide their own gender.
Oh, really?
Ah.
Young Jeezy agreed to that?
Young Jeezy.
When he started dating that Asian woman, he really opened his mind to a lot of different shit. And I'm not saying that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
but
he did.
he's definitely changed as a person since
I don't
being
think
with
he
her.
agreed to that one, though. I think that's her. But you're right. He did. I, personally, don't agree with that sentiment. I agree with my child having the option to choose or to figure out their identity. I don't know if I believe in raising them identity-less.
Okay.
Per se. I will probably raise them. No, I'm not probably. I will raise them the gender they are, subscribed to.
Yeah.
But if they discover something throughout life, that's them. So same thing. If we get through years of religion and they do come to me, Daddy, I do not think I'm a Christian. I do not want to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And, we have these conversations. I have no qualms or problems letting that, rock per se.
I would give my kids everything. If there are little coexist books where it just has everything, I'm just like, which one you like their colors better? Okay, so we could go get a menorah. We can get you a yum. Just introducing them to, because I'm telling you, that 7th grade Bible class has made the most lasting impression on me.
Right.
Period. Not just because I was young and still being whatever, but it was because it was so good and important, and I never would have gotten that experience anywhere else. And I fear that there are a lot of kids that aren't even being exposed to what's out there, really.
Right.
And so I would just yes, you could choose whatever you want to choose.
That I didn't think would be one.
What's
Because, well, one,
so
he made jokes about it, which was
I don't think
very off-putting.
Boo.
tomato,
Boo that
So, it's hard, I would say, from his perspective, because I was, when we got together, it was during a time that I was really struggling with my faith because I was in the midst of my depression.
Yeah.
But I wasn't so far removed from my religion that I was okay with.
And it was actually.
I was still trying to figure out and find my place and my space with this. Does this work for me? Am I upset because I feel like I don't deserve to go through things? And do I that? Or I feel like I specifically don't deserve to go through things? There was a lot of work that I need to do.
I would say
and somebody kind of coming in and not
when we got together, it was during a time that I was really struggling with my faith because I was in the
I'm not expecting expecting
but
you
I
to,
wasn't so
you know, sit
far
down with me and try to help me
from
figure it
my
out, but I'm
religion that I
expecting you
was
to give
okay
me my
with.
space to figure it out.
Yeah.
But then I
Like,
got
I
to a
was
point
still
where I was
trying to
like,
figure
okay, we
out
can't have a
and find
conversation
my
about this.
place,
This
my
is
space
a
with
very
this. Like,
important,
does this work
integral
for
part
me?
of
Am I
my life.
upset because
So
I feel
I
like I
realized
don't
after
deserve
that,
surprised when it
things,
was.
and do I
You'd
need
be
to
like,
look
it
at that?
is?
Why I feel like
she's
I
religious.
specifically don't deserve to go through things.
Yes.
Like, there was a lot of work that I
If you
needed to
didn't
do.
know.
And somebody kind of coming in and
Exactly.
not
Being
being
Jesus our buddy. So
yeah, like, I'm
after
not
getting out of that
expecting
relationship
you
and
to,
being the one that
you know, sit
I'm
down
in
with me and
now,
try to
where
figure it out, but I'm expecting you to give me
very
space to
early in our
figure it out.
relationship, I started having a lot
But
of
then it got to a point where it's
personal
like, okay, we can't have a conversation about this.
changes in
This
my
is
life. You know,
a
with
very
my mom's
important,
health
integral
and
part of my
with
life.
my health
So
and a
I
lot new
realized
jobs
after
and all this
that
kind of stuff
it was.
happening.
You'd be like,
And
it
when I
is.
tell you, like,
She's religious.
we went to sleep.
Wow, I bet they
Yes.
so
Oh
I feel like no one noticed, and she just kept going.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I feel like if it
I was
goes
focused.
unnoticed, then it's noticed.
So
I was focused
after
on the
getting out of that
story
relationship
and didn't
being
even
the
hear
one
things.
I'm in now, where, you know, like,
How's it going?
very early in our relationship, I started having a lot of
I'm
personal
sorry.
changes in my life.
There's
You
a
know,
lot of
my
personal
mom's
things
health,
that were
with
kind of like
my
falling
health,
apart in my
and
life,
a lot of
and
jobs
just
and all this
I
kind
just
of
didn't
stuff
know what to
happening.
do. It wasn't
And when
necessarily
I
things
tell
were
you,
falling apart, but
like,
things were changing very
went to
rapidly,
sleep.
all at the same time. And we went to sleep together. We didn't sleep together, but we
Yeah, I
slept
didn't
together.
notice.
You know what I'm saying?
If it
And
goes unnoticed,
This
then
man put his
I was
hand on
focused
my
on
head
the
and prayed
story.
over me. I almost started sobbing. That was just something that I had never experienced before. A man, like, actually caring for me.
Cocoa Bits?
Yeah,
There's a lot of personal things that were kind of like falling apart in my life. I just didn't know what to do. It wasn't necessarily that things were falling apart.
I didn't
Things were
know what
changing
his
very
name
rapidly
was.
all at the same time. And we went to sleep together. And, like,
It's
we
all
sleep
him.
together.
You're right.
I'm still calling him him.
Because there's a cocoa bean, and I have to be careful about that.
It's,
That's okay.
it's him.
That was
It's
just
only
something
him.
that I
Yes.
had never experienced
Nobody
before.
else but you.
A man, Actually
Okay.
caring for me.
But yeah, that was like the first wake up call where I was just like, this man is able to love me on a level that other men have not.
Is beautiful.
So I'm like, yes, you can, you know, bring me
Yeah.
food when I'm not feeling well. You can, you know, massage my back when my cramps are fucking me up. You can tell me all the good things about life and how great I am as a person. But when you have a man unsolicited just pray over you,
That's sexy.
it hit very different, and I realized, I was like, this is something I want for myself. Like, this is something that makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel safe, and it makes me feel like no matter what happens, we can go to God and we don't have to fight each other.
What
didn't
if
think
God
about
was
that.
different? What if he prayed in a different way than what you're used to? Would that still have been a very...
I mean, I do think it's like, I feel like it's the same way when you pray, like when you tell atheists, like, I'll pray for you. Like, it's a nice gesture, but they don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they really don't.
like I see if
Yeah,
they're
I'm not
nice,
gonna lie.
they'll go like, oh, you know, that's nice because to you, that's the most care that you can. I am
Right.
soliciting the most powerful being I know to intercede on your behalf and help you. That's nice.
Right.
But they don't believe in that shit, so they're just like, okay.
But
Thank you.
no, like if he would have prayed to Jehovah or...
I think it hits
Allah.
home more for me just because we're on the same wavelength. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that I wouldn't have appreciated it, but the fact that we go to the same God, like this is the same God that, you know, if something's going on with him, I was like, you know, Lord, you know, you helped me. This man prayed over me. He talked to you on my behalf. I'm talking to you now on his. Like, there's a different relationship there. So it's not that I wouldn't appreciate it, but it does hit different when it's, you know, when it's your God.
Okay.
That was a strong point, and it just that might have flipped my world right there because not only
That shit right there.
no that shit right, because not only okay. And,
Speak your peace, kid.
Here's
Because-
my thoughts. We just need a second camera. Put it right here so we can get all your reactions. You know what I'm saying?
We need to just get another ring light like that and just put the little cell phone camera so it could be like a shitty video quality
it just happened like
and just like pop it up sometimes when we need to.
Yeah.
no, it's like okay. So remember a previous episode we talked about like just the idea of like guys having a certain power over certain things. Right. So like the actually praying for a woman is a move that we will do and never mean it in a sexy way or anything. It's a genuine, I really want to sit here and pray with you in my presence on the phone, together in the car while it's raining. Like, I want to pray. So I never even thought about the fact that, like, it does just hit different when it's somebody that's on the same wavelength. If they're not, it could still hit, but it's not going to hit the same. It's not going to hit the same.
So, like, in that respect, as far as raising kids, like, I would give them the same experience that I had. I mean, they're going to go to church, but I'm going to be very careful with what kind of church that I bring my kids in. The same way people research schools, I'm researching my church. I don't want my kids to feel scared. And that's what I think I felt growing up, was I just felt so scared to do something wrong.
I was beat with a fear stick into loving God. And, like, when I let that go and I came back to it, I was like, wow, I don't have to be beat to love God right now.
Like, it's not a fear-based religion, it's a love one.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that that's how my kids get introduced. And if I have to introduce them at home first before we start going to a church, that's fine. If they get to, high school, middle school, and they're like, Mommy, I don't really think this is for me, okay.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to take away their ability to, say that they don't like it anymore, or they don't want to participate anymore.
Yeah.
But even with all the flaws, I think that I experienced with church folks in different churches, I think I still turned out a really, really good person because I had those values in my life.
Yeah.
And they're really good values. Like, aside from all the, like, okay, there was a big whale that ate a person and threw him up and he was still fine. Like, cool. There are these miraculous stories, but there are also really good, I was about to say tidbits. There are also really good lessons in that book to go, like Ecclesiastes is my favorite because this dude be like, this is meaningless, this is meaningless, this is meaningless. And this is a man who was the smartest man, had all the concubines, had all the riches. And it's just like, okay, this is just telling you, like, it doesn't matter what you acquire in this life. If you're not nurturing your soul, you're not going to be happy. And these are lessons that I think they would get in any religion. Those are the things that I want them to walk away with. Like, if they don't believe that a snake talked to a lady and she ate an apple, fine. But the actual building them as a human and going, hey, take care of the inside part of you. That's all I can ask for.
I'm trying to think of what my favorite book of the Bible was. I feel like it was basic. It was Psalm or Song of Solomon.
Ecclesiastes was my crack, bro. I was like, this dude is speaking facts.
I don't know if I have an actual favorite. Because, like I said,
it's a tough read. Like, New and Old Testaments was always tripping me. Like, I just was always asking why.
The Pentateuch, the first
sense.
5, I don't like them.
That's what they're called? That sounds like a curse.
Zebediah was the son of Eshkabalim, and I was like, why do I need to know this?
Hickory dock.
Because I don't understand who these people are or how to say these names.
Okay, let's see. Because we did it again.
An hour.
Over an hour.
Oh.
But let's do it like this. How about if everybody could just give like their one big takeaway from spirituality, religion, blah, blah, blah. And I know that's a big question, but that's just because this whole time it's been popping up in my head that the one thing I can really feel like I learned from the Christian religion that keeps me in it is just God equals love. And for me, that kind of directs my whole life, that even if older generation, they're gonna get into the sex before marriage, they're gonna get into the LGBTQ community, they're gonna get into so many sins and not even address their own sins that they do. But I always felt if I approach everything as God is love, therefore if I give love or try to admit love in every situation,
then God is in you.
And I'm doing God's work.
Yeah.
So even if I don't agree with someone's relationship, or even if I don't agree with what someone's doing, as long as I approach it with actual genuine love, then I'm WWJD.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that was a moment in time. You had to be there. 90s.
I think for myself, the biggest thing I took away is that it is truly a journey, and it's going to have its ups and downs like anything else. If you're going to college, it's going to have ups and downs. If you're doing a new, weightlifting program or a new exercise program, ups and downs, dieting, whatever. It is a life experience, and it will not be perfect. But to your point, Thomas, the Pastor David Anderson at Bridgeway. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Pastor David Anderson, he would say this all the time. We major on the majors and we minor on the minors. And it's just like those areas of shade of gray that some Christians are very, very obsessed with figuring out who's right and who's wrong is not important. The major story of Jesus coming down and, dying on the cross for sin, the major person or, person that we've created or try to personify, God, that is what is important, that he is love, that when you go out into the world, you need to be love to other people. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've come away with going to different churches, with hearing from different people, with seeing different types of Christians. Major on the majors, the things that are set in stone that are not arguable about the Christian faith. Carry those pillars and act accordingly. Those minors, whether you are, allowed to masturbate, whether divorce is wrong or not, like those things aren't as important. God is not going up there with up there at his desk going, I really wanted to let you in, but you did masturbate 3 times on Tuesday. Like those are things that, need to be put to the side. So I think that is something that can help you live a more judgmental life as well as just love people for who they are and for the God that you see, in them.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is that there's power in realizing that there's something bigger than you. There's power in knowing that you are insignificant. Even though that sounds harsh, it's true. Like you are part of a much bigger plan. And seeing that plan unfold by trusting the process is beautiful. And that's what makes the journey worth it. So I know a lot of people have been really, really hurt by the church. I'm not even advocating for Christianity. I'm just advocating for believing in something, having faith in something. It really takes a lot of weight off your chest. Because all them years where I just spent angry and, kind of identifying as agnostic, but like teetering on atheism, I was carrying burdens with me. And now I don't feel like I have to carry as many. I still got them, but I'm definitely not carrying as many because I know there's just a bigger purpose and a bigger meaning, and that's just beautiful for me.
There's a verse for that. Give the burdens to Jesus. Amen.
Yeah, it really that's what I'm learning, and it's like whoever that may be, do that shit. Give that burden up because that's all it's there for. It's there to be a comfort blanket for you, So I'm not approaching it in a scared little, oh, you gonna beat me if I don't come to you type of way. I'm approaching it as like, oh, you have my heating pad and tea ready? Yeah, I'm gonna go chill over there with you. Thank you so much.
Back rubs.
Yeah.
Ask you about your day, tell you pretty and stuff.
I'm just like,
I'm
this is
beautifully
really
and
nice.
wonderfully made.
Thank
Stop
you.
it.
I'm made in your image. Ooh.
I'm your favorite child. I won't tell nobody.
That's how I'm approaching it, and it's like a fun ride. And so, yeah, that's my biggest takeaway.
I love that for us.
Love that for us.
Love it.
But we talk too much.
This has been a nice episode.
This is what happens when we don't do an episode in a while. We just get to talk.
We just get to
look at him.
Going.
He's like, it's too bright in here. Y'all niggas is loud.
That's how I feel downstairs, Lou.
You see him, Thomas?
No way.
He's really curled all the way up.
Like he has a job.
He's like, excuse me. Oh, we probably need to close this out. Yeah, guys, it's been really real. Whatever you choose for yourself, religion-wise, is not, a matter of care for us. But spiritually, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself, because a musty spiritual whole being thing, a musty one, a crusty one.
Don't be out here spiritually ashy.
Don't be spiritually ashy.
Don't do it.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Won't he do it? Amen. Love you guys. Bye.
Deuces.
Small twin, tall twin.
Yeah.
So did it.
So did it.
Oh, what y'all saying? Be kind to yourself, be kind to others,
Oh shit, we did say that.
and be the best little galaxies that you can be. I think we should keep that one.
Oh shit, we do be saying that, don't we?
All right, now peace.
Peace.
Peace. That was very well put.
saying that.
You're funny.
Sorry.
That's right.